Welcome everyone to the Well-Rounded Dad. Today we are cooking up some pork tenderloin. Probably the most underrated piece of meat in my opinion. For one, it is basically the filet mignon of the pork world. Secondly, it is relatively cheap. It is $4.99 a pound. When you compare that to a lot of meat prices today, it definitely holds its own weight here. So when you pull these out of the package, definitely give them a little smell. It's not uncommon for them to have a little bit of odor from being stuck in that cryovac packaging. With pork tenderloin, you want to, a little tackiness is okay, but if it smells or if it is feels really gluey, then you really want to rinse it under some water, let it air out for about 5 minutes, and go back and double check it. If you're still getting a strong odor or it's really still sticky, you should take it back. But this one was a nice fresh piece. What I'm doing right now is cutting off the kind of connective tissue, so you'll be able to tell the difference between just a little bit of fat on the outside and the part that looks more like, not to sound overly unappetizing, but kind of like tendon connective tissue. You got to get up under that with a knife. I'm using a paper towel to help grip the pieces of meat, but you really want to fillet that off because it is not going to cook down. It's going to be tough in every piece that you cut, so make sure that you do that. I should make note here that we are talking about pork tenderloin. It's a smaller package. It comes with 2 pieces in there, as you can see. It is not pork loin. That is a separate cut of meat. So the pork tenderloin is super tender. Really, I mentioned that it's comparable to filet mignon, and in that way, treat it so. It's super tender, shouldn't be overcooked, and you're going to need some seasoning to help with the flavor because it is quite bland on its own. Once you get that cut out, now I'm doing a 3-part series here of different ways you can cook pork tenderloin. So I'm going to take this second piece of meat, stick it in a bag, throw it in the fridge, and I'll work on the second part, which will be the baking method, tomorrow. So what I want to do is cut these in 3/4 inch-ish slices. So I'm going to essentially make little miniature pork filet mignon steaks. And I think that's really a way that a lot of people haven't thought about using the pork tenderloin. You can grill it on the grill if you would like. Excuse me. You can grill it on the grill, but for the recipe today, we are going to need to use the pan, or in this case, I'm going to be using cast iron. So you got a nice little fillet right there. Now, just so you guys know, I am washing my hands. I think I washed my hands about 800 times, but to save you from watching me wash my hands for 5 minutes out of this video, I just tried to edit that out. Now, to save from making a big old mess, I went ahead and put a bunch of salt, pepper, paprika, and Italian seasonings in the plate there, and just smash it down, get it to stick. I did underestimate the amount of seasoning I'd need, so I had to go back for a second batch here. Also, you might notice I had the cutting board in foil. I was trying to save myself from having to wash that thing again, but I didn't think about the fact that I was slicing them into steaks for this portion. So that's what happened with that. Looks like I'm washing it after all. Alright, so get your cast iron skillet pretty hot. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not terribly hot. Otherwise, you're just going to burn and smoke everything out. ovens vary so much. In this case, you can see I have it put right at 6. The previous place, or last oven that I had, or last stove, I cooked just about everything at like 4.5. So you got to find what works for you. Think about, what do you, cook chicken at? What do you cook sausage and bacon? In this case, on this old stove, 6 is kind of the magic number for that. So what I did is I let it sit for the first side for 6 minutes. I went ahead and did a flip here. Let it go for about 6 more minutes on that side. You do get a nice little crust on there, just like you'd be looking for with a steak. Then I went for 2 more minutes, kind of flipped the outside to the inside, just because I figure the center of the pan is going to be a little hotter, so make sure everything's cooking evenly. So again, I did 2 minutes on, and then flip again. So overall, you're looking at 8 minutes on each side is what I did. Obviously, that's going to vary a little bit. You got to keep an eye on it. Make sure that the temp's right for you. This is not the kind of meal that you're going to make like every week. Okay, this is going to be like a wow your family. You're a chef. You're a well-rounded dad. You know how to cook, and you're really putting it out for them here. So this is definitely a special type of meal. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's as good as anything you'd order from a restaurant. It's going to be the best piece of pork you've ever had, as long as you don't overcook it and you season it well. The temp you're going to want to get to here is going to be somewhere between 140 and 145. Now that sounds low for pork, but they've changed the ratings on pork and safety and eating over the last several years. I got this one right at 140. Now these do tend to still cook while they're resting, maybe more so even than other meats. I'm not really sure why, but if you know, let me know in the comments. But if you get it much past that 140 to 145 mark, it's going to be dried out, and it's not going to be very delicious. So I'm just setting them on a plate here, letting them rest. While we get ready for phase 2. Now, this recipe involves chopped onions and mushrooms. You're going to really want to prep those ahead of time, because once this whole thing gets rolling, you got to really be devoting your attention to the pork. So have those pre-chopped for you, and set in a bowl in the fridge. The other thing we're going to do here is, you notice some Bob Evans instant mashed potatoes. A, they're good. B, unless you've spent a ton of time in the kitchen and you are a seasoned chef, you're going to really want to just, devote your time to what you're doing with these little pork steaks, and not spend a ton of time worrying about making mashed potatoes from scratch. Now, if you want to, go ahead, knock yourself out. But, I tend to try to focus on one big thing when I'm cooking, and if that means I use some microwavable rice, or some heat up mashed potatoes, heat up bacon, whatever it is, it's going to make things a little less hectic for you. So here's what we're doing. We're pouring down some butter, about a half a stick. We got some olive oil in there, and we're going to toss these onions in. This is a sweet onion. I just like the flavor a lot better. I'm not a big onion fan. This is sweet onions, a lot more mild, got a little better flavor for me. And some sliced portobello mushrooms. I do not cook mushrooms very much because they're a pain in the butt to clean, in my opinion. You don't want to soak them for a long time in water because they will absorb too much water, but you do want to get them, wiped off, dried down, patted down with a paper towel. And for this recipe, I guess you could do it with just onion, but honestly, the mushroom is pretty key in this recipe. So I'd recommend, unless you really dislike mushrooms, to add it. It gives it that earthiness, just gives it a lot richer flavor. So I'm scraping the pan here because we want to get all those little bits of seasoning and cooked pork that was in there. I actually intended on putting bacon in it, some chopped up cooked bacon. Don't do raw because it won't cook right, but some cooked bacon, and I forgot. But that's okay because once I got the finished product, I was like, wow, we didn't even really need the bacon. I let it simmer down here a little bit. Now, chicken broth, that might seem weird for pork, but chicken broth actually pairs with pork pretty well. It's not like you're adding beef stock or something like that. You really won't even notice the difference. So now I'm just, again, scraping the pan, getting all that kind of just melding together and letting it reduce down over time here. Alright, so now we're ready to rock and roll. We've got our onions and mushrooms cooked down. We've got our pork ready to rock and roll. Get some of the mashed potatoes, scoop those out. Now, what else would I do with this? Probably pair it with a salad. This is a heavy meal, so a nice salad on the side would be good. Another way to kind of shortcut but still make a really nice salad is to buy the the bag salad. But to elevate that a little bit and make it seem like it's not just some random bag salad, you can cut some fresh cucumber, some fresh red pepper, onion, shredded cheese, whatever it is, and you're still doing minimal work here to have a really nice side that, again, seems like you prepped it for a while, but you're really working with that base there. So we're going to scoop some of this mix out. I probably could have put even a little more chicken broth in there to make it more of a sauce, but we're scooping it out. We're draping it over the pork. We're draping it over the mashed potatoes. Almost like a thin gravy, marsala, whatever you want to call it. But that's a pretty nice looking dish here. And your family's going to be like, whoa, how did you do this? Where did you learn this at? So let me cut in here, make sure that we're looking good. Oh yeah, it's perfect. Perfect. And I'll be honest with you, I was planning on just doing like a bite for the video here, and I immediately sat right back down in that chair and crushed that whole plate. You will not be disappointed. Thanks for joining us today. Look forward to seeing you for part 2.